This is the Meva how-to for Imperial ganging and assembly. Find an area large enough and level enough so that you can lay out your panel configuration as needed for ganging. Be sure that the area being used can handle the expected weight. Always refer to your technical drawings provided by Meva for the configuration of the panel gangs for the current pour sequence. The drawings will show examples of panel size and position to achieve the needed height of the wall, as well as examples of needed accessories and placement of those accessories. Be sure that the weight of the gang being assembled does not exceed the weight capacity of the crane hooks. The capacity of each crane hook is 3,300 pounds, and a minimum of 2 crane hooks must be used to crane a gang of panels. Arrange panels face down on timbers as needed. For assembly, the panels can easily be connected with an M assembly lock. Simply place the lock's hooks around the profile of 2 panels and take the connecting wedge and force it through the lock with a hammer. Be sure that the hooks are in the panel's profile and that the locks are firmly secured. The standard lock requirements are 1 lock for 1-foot panels, 2 locks for a 1.5 through an 8-foot panel, and 3 locks for 12-foot panels. Additional locks are required for columns and outside corner applications. For these situations, refer to the respective technical drawing section for details. Panels with aluminum or wood fillers can be connected with a uni assembly lock 28. The maximum usable distance for a uni assembly lock 28 is 6 inches. Vertical steel rails must be installed across stacked panel joints for lifting gang forms. For connecting rails, the maximum average rail spacing is 8 feet for gangs up to 18 feet high. For gangs over 18 feet, the maximum rail spacing is 4 foot. Rails should be installed on panels at each end of the panel gang. Both tubes of the rails section must extend to the second cross member away from the panel joint or beyond. Flange screws must be installed in the threaded profile that is closest to the panel joint. Be sure that the flange screw 18 is connected to the multifunction profile and tightened all the way down so that the rail is firmly connected. For gangs up to 18 feet high, when connecting 12-foot high and 8-foot high panels, may use 4-foot long rails on vertical panels with 1 flange screw 18 on each side of the panel joint. Longer rails are required when connecting 4-foot high and 2-foot high panels so that the rails bridge the joints of those panels. Gangs with horizontal panels require rails that extend to the next cross member beyond the flange screw connection of the vertical panel. Gangs over 18 feet high require 6-foot rails or longer, except when the top horizontal panel is less than 2 feet wide. Horizontal panels less than 2 feet wide may only be located at the top or at the bottom of the gang with heights over 14 feet. The maximum gang height for a single lift is 26 feet. Higher walls must be set in multiple lifts unless special analysis and design are performed. There may be some rails that are only required for lifting the panel gangs. If the rails required for lifting interfere with those for concrete placement, then you need to reconfigure the rail placement prior to the concrete pour or prior to stripping that gang. To attach walkway brackets, take the self-locking pin of the bracket and insert it into the multifunction profile of the panel. Do this by rotating the bracket 45 degrees, inserting the pin, and then rotating it back to the horizontal position. You can then secure the bottom of the bracket by taking a flange screw 18 through the foot of the bracket and screwing that into the multifunction profile of the panel. Make sure that the flange screw 18 is firmly secured. Any planking or guard railing that is attached at this point must be firmly secured so that it does not fall off during transport. Wall braces are attached to the multifunction profile of the panel with a foam prop connector and a flange screw 18. Be sure that the G-hooks of the braces are also firmly secured so that the brace does not expand during lifting. For examples of proper brace placement and positioning, be sure to refer to your technical drawings. A visual inspection should always be made of the gang form prior to transportation and flying it with the crane. This to ensure that no unfastened hardware or other items are left loose on the form that could fall off during transportation. Lift the gang into the upright position and apply a thin layer of form release. The Alcus will not absorb any form release, so only a thin application is needed. Do not allow any personnel on or directly under any formwork while it is being moved or suspended. Set the gang into position and immediately anchor the bracing foot plates and install and anchor the shoe plates. Do not release the crane support until the gang is completely secured. For any further questions on Imperial ganging and assembly, please refer to your technical drawings or the Imperial Technical Manual for information. Once your gang is properly assembled with assembly locks, steel rails, and walkway brackets, you're ready to lift the gang into position. Each crane hook must be attached at a panel joint or at a cross member if the top panel is in a horizontal position. The number and location of the crane hooks and the rigging must be established by the user so that no individual component is overloaded. The minimum angle of the rigging from the hook to the crane is 60 degrees.